Welcome to Jack Talk. I'm your host, Chaz Rockmore, and today we'll be talking to a member of the ACC, the Recreation Superintendent, about the Corporate Challenge, and the Fitness and Wellness Coordinator about the Week of Reflection. You won't want to miss any of it. All coming up right here on Jack Talk. Today we have Publicity Manager of the ACC, Latifa Al-Bukhari. It's great to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Great. Could you tell me, what is the ACC?
It's the Asian Culture Club. This club is to celebrate diversity around campus. It's not only Asian culture, but the minority of campus is the Asian students, and we're here just to celebrate that culture.
Okay, and is this a newfound organization? How long have you all been around?
It's been around for about 3 years. I've been there since last spring.
Okay, and you said that you celebrate all different kind of cultures, but
Yes.
since it is the Asian Culture Club, I'm sure that that's one of the focuses. How do you pick
Yes.
which Asian culture that you focus on? Because I'm sure that like Cambodian is different than Vietnamese and so
Yes,
on.
of course. In the beginning, it started as Chinese mostly, and more students start to come in, and more students start to mention their own culture. And now we try to mention every culture, including like every part of Asia.
Okay, and about how many active students do you all have?
We have about 30 from every major, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
And if I wanted to be a part of the Asian Culture Club, how would I go about doing so?
You can talk to any of the members. We have a Facebook group, and also just show up at the meeting. You are welcome. Anyone's welcome any day.
And I see on the Facebook group that you said that you're bringing the East to SFA. How do you plan on doing that, or how are you doing that in some ways?
We plan on doing that by having events throughout the year. For example, we have the Fall Fest in the fall, and we have our upcoming event, the night market, in the spring, and we try to show people what we're trying to do.
Okay, so the Pho Fest, what is Pho and why do you have a festival for it?
Pho is a traditional Vietnamese dish. It's basically a noodle soup made of beef broth. There is a lot of vegetables and different kind of beef or meat in general. It's very famous, and it's very delicious and healthy for you. And we just have a big event because we don't really have a lot of places that sell that here in Nacogdoches, so we try to bring that as a big event because a lot of people ask for it too.
And I know last November you collaborated with the OLA to do the shadow skit. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, Ola asked us to collaborate with them, and of course we were more than happy to do that. We had shadow dances by our own students. They practiced every day to do that shadow dancing, choreographed everything, and a lot of people liked it, which was great. Yeah.
And for the ACC, why would you think that Nacogdoches or SFA needs a club like this?
Because we are a minority, and we try to spread cultural awareness and diversity. And of course, we have a lot of other clubs around the school, but ours celebrates diversity, like not only around the world, but also in the States, around American students too.
And as far as the night market, your upcoming event, could you talk about that some?
Yes, our night market is our biggest event for the spring semester. It's going to be at 6 p.m. till 9, April 4th. It's a Friday, so it's going to be a great start for everyone's weekend. Everyone's welcome to join, including the Nacogdoches community. We're expecting everyone to come in, including families and even children.
Okay. And at your typical meetings, what do you go over? Do you go over like Asian history or different customs?
We try not to make our meetings more of like learning because the students spend their whole day learning about that in school. So we do that by hanging out together, talking about our own cultures, and everyone learns from each other's culture. And it's really interesting how, we compare each other's cultures.
Okay. And are there more ACCs at different campuses, or how does this go? Is it nationwide?
Every campus has a different way of calling their own Asian cultural club. Well, for us it's ACC, but everyone has a different name for that.
And besides the night market, what other events do you have coming up?
We have Fall Fest, but it's next fall. And like between every semester we have different little events like OLA when we collaborated with them. We usually don't do that. That was our first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you plan on grabbing more students to join the club or publicizing your ACC club?
Bigger events, more fun events. Just in general, talking about it, showing that we're having fun. For example, we're not really strict as a club. Anyone can join, and we don't really ask you to be at the meeting. Last month, we planned a road trip to Dallas to go to the Chinese Lantern Festival, and we stayed at each other's houses. It was very casual, it was very fun, and we asked anyone to join. Not everyone was in ACC, we just asked everyone to join.
Okay, sure. And if you don't mind me asking, what's your ethnicity?
I'm Arab. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so what made you want to join the ACC?
Saudi Arabia is in Asia, first of all. Second of all, I'm a big fan of Asian food, Asian culture in general. I met one person from the club, and then I just got really close to everyone at that club that I didn't really want to leave, and I still, go every week for that.
Okay, sure. And if I wanted to join, what is something that you can tell me to ensure that I was to come to a meeting and join the club?
We're really fun. We hang out. We're like a family. We call each other the ACC fam. Like, we're always together. If anyone needs help in that club, like, we're there for them. Whether it's about school or family or anything, we're always there for each other. Even if we don't have a meeting that week, we basically just go to each other's places and hang out and cook together. During night market last year, the parents came in and we all had fun and got to know each other, and they helped out in the club.
Alrighty, great. Well, thank you for coming, Latifah. It was a really pleasure talking to you. Everyone stay tuned. We have more coming up after this. We'll talk to the Recreation Superintendent about the corporate challenge. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. That was very nerve-wracking.
Welcome back. I'm Brianna McCoy. In this segment, we'll be talking to Recreation Superintendent Destiny Smith. Thank you for being here on the show with us today. So start off by telling me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Destiny. I am Recreation Superintendent for the City of Nacogdoches. I am originally from Houston, and I came here to SFA, and I graduated with my Bachelor's of Business Management. And I started working for the city as an intern in the Human Resources Office, and then I worked my way up to where I am now.
So how did you really get involved with the corporate challenge?
Well, I just got into this new position back in October as a recreation superintendent. That is part of one of the duties of the job, is to have one of many events, and the corporate challenge is one of them. So,
tell me about the event. What goes on during the event?
It's local companies that have their employees compete in 9 different events, and it goes on from April 13th through May 3rd, and it's several different events with different nights, different activities, and it's a whole lot of fun.
Where will it be held?
In different places. Most of the events are held at the C.L. Simon Recreation Center, and then we will have the golf event will be at the Woodland Hills Golf Club. The mini golf will be at the North Forest Putting Course, Texas Pro Bowl for bowling, and Bonita Creek Hall for washers.
So tell me about the companies that usually compete and the individuals. Tell me about those.
About which ones can or which ones do?
Which ones do or can?
Normally we usually have Commercial Bank, SFA usually has a team every year. E-Tech, the city has their teams also. NIBCO, Parker, Medical Center, Memorial Hospital. Let me think of some more.
Well, how was the event last year?
It went really, really well. Commercial Bank won. It's their third year in a row.
Okay, so they're the defending champs,
Yes.
and they
Yes, they
probably
are.
have a team. They're dominating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so tell me more about the games that you're having.
Okay.
That will be held at the events. Like the team, how many people have to be involved in the games in the different divisions?
Okay, there's a whole bunch of different events. So which one would you want to start with?
Let's start off with basketball. I love basketball.
Okay, basketball.
Yes.
You can have 5 to 7 people on a team, and it is a single elimination tournament. And we have it over 3 nights because that's a pretty popular one. And it's at the Recreation Center itself.
Mhm. What's the purpose of the corporate challenge?
The purpose is to be able to have your company's employees to get active and to work together as a team outside of work. And also it helps in, camaraderie, and it makes them work together and have fun.
Are there any credentials for the corporate or the individuals to be in it?
As long as you have paid employees, you can play in Corporate Challenge.
Okay, and how are the winners determined in each of the games? So we talked a little bit about basketball. Let's talk about football next. So how you have flag football, correct?
Yes, we have flag football.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that, how the winners are determined in that one.
That one is a single elimination tournament. And so it goes through the brackets, and then at the end, because we have a main award for the company that wins the whole corporate challenge. And we also give awards for individual events also. So whoever wins, like flag football, will go home with a trophy. And then we have first and second and third. And then we also have last place, which is, it's pretty cute.
Yeah. So what if there's a tie? What do you do in the event that there's a tie?
In the individual events, you can have ties. We'll just have to get, more trophies at a later date. But for the overall corporate challenge award, if there is a tie, we'll go through and, which company has the most first places, which company has the most second and third and fourth until we can find a breaking point.
How are the coaches determined for the events?
The coaches are pretty much like the event coordinator for each of the events. Because it's a lot to do. They'll be the ones that will, get the rosters together, and they will be the ones to communicate with them, through us, so that we're not communicating with so many different people. It's just one person to represent that one company. And they organize it all and be sure that their people are there. And
how is it putting on this one single big event with many different events? How is that as far as your role and your duties? Tell me about that.
It's a lot of planning and a lot of beforehand planning. We've been planning this since November, I think, to be sure that it doesn't interfere with all of the millions of other things we have going on at the Rec Center too.
What are some of the things that went wrong last year or in the past that you've learned and you made corrections for that you won't make this time around?
This is my first year doing it.
Okay.
So
have you learned anything from anyone else?
I'm still learning from last year. I wasn't around for it. I've had people tell me, okay, hey, this is how, this went, this is what we should do differently, and all of the different things, because it's really hard to determine when you can schedule things because you have no idea how many people are going to register for it. Mm-hmm. So the schedule that we send out isn't necessarily finalized. That's finalized at the coaches meeting, so we can say, okay, Commercial Bank, you're going to play at 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, but we can't determine any of that until registration is over. So it's kind of tentative.
How do nonprofit organizations fit in with the corporate challenge?
They can play too, as long as their employees are paid. Like the city, it's nonprofit, but we have paid employees and we play too.
Okay. And you are an SFA alumni.
Yes, I am.
Tell me what you got your degree in.
In business administration with an emphasis in human resources.
So why did you decide to stay in Nacogdoches, and are you continuing with your grad school, or are you
Not
working?
yet. I graduated in 2011, and I keep saying, oh, I'm going to apply next semester. Oh, I'm going to apply next semester, and I just haven't done it yet. It's on my to-do list.
Most people say they want to leave Nacogdoches, they're tired of NAC after school.
Mm-mm.
So what made you stick around here and stay in NAC and help the city grow as far as with the corporate challenge and the other things that you do?
Well, I'm from Houston, and it's a really big town, and I came here and I just loved it, and I love the people that I work with, and I just bought a house here a few months ago, and so I'm here for the long haul.
Okay.
I love it.
All right. So can you tell me about anything that you've heard that happened at an event, anything crazy that has happened in any of the events or the games?
They've had some pretty close calls. There were some nights from previous years that, like the dodgeball tournament, they were there until like midnight because they were just having too much fun with it.
Okay. So what do you think really just makes it so much fun? Is it just the fact that they're competing against each other, different corporate teams, or is it because they get to meet new people? What makes it so much so much
All
fun?
of it. All of it. I know a lot of the teams, they like to do things outside of work, and it's fun for them, and a lot of people's bosses like for them to do it too. It's just a really good time, and it's really a lot of fun. Like golfing, like on a work day you get to go golf, like who doesn't want to do that?
So how do you feel about the different corporate teams that have worked together, that it comes together here in Nacogdoches? Do you think they work together here, or do you think they're pretty separate?
Yeah, I think that they do. And Corporate Challenge brings a whole bunch of different companies together, and they can network there. And
all right, well, thank you very much, Destiny, for coming on the show with us. The Corporate Challenge will most likely be held at the C.L. Simon Recreation Center, located next to the Judy B. McDonald Public Library. Right next is Java Jacks off of North Street. Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. I would like to thank you, Destiny, once again. We'll be back talking about the Fitness and Wellness Coordinator about the Week of Reflection, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to Jack Talk. For our final segment, we'll be talking with Kate Hulick Bridges, the Fitness and Wellness Coordinator, who can usually be found in her office piled up with paperwork, but found the time to join us in the studio today. Thanks for being on the show today, Kate.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So first off, could you just give us a little background? Tell us a bit about yourself.
All right, well, I'm the Fitness and Wellness Coordinator for Campus Recreation, which means that I manage all of the fitness and wellness programming for the Student Rec Center. So anything fitness and wellness, from the equipment, the group exercise classes, personal training, all wellness events on campus, I coordinate and manage all of that. I have 2 graduate assistants and a staff of about 30 student employees that I manage. From Colorado originally. I was born and raised there. I graduated with my bachelor's in exercise science and nutrition from Colorado State University in 2005. It's making me feel old now. And I've worked in the fitness industry ever since, in the both private and higher education as well. So I worked at Oregon State University for several years before coming here as their exercise specialist coordinator.
Great. And so we have the Week of Reflection coming up. Could you tell us about that?
We do, yes. The Week of Reflection is sponsored, it's put on by the Division of Student Affairs, and it is a week, it's April 7th through the 11th, and it's a week for students. It's an opportunity for them to reflect and look back upon the last year and their experience at SFA and what they've actually learned from that. So rather than just going through the motions of each year, okay, cross that off, move to the next. It's like, all right, well, let's look back and see, what did you learn this last year? What affected you? There's 5 days, so it's a week long, and each day has a different theme. The themes are going to be service, diversity, wellness, leadership, and scholarship. And then there'll be various activities each day that coincide with that theme.
Okay. And could you give us like a specific event they'll go to each day?
You know, we're still finalizing the event, so I don't
sure.
know exactly what's happening each day. I do know Wednesday is going to be Wellness Day, and since that's the part that I'm involved in, I can tell you a little bit more about
Sure.
that. We're going to have a de-stress fest that's going to go on in the plaza outside the Student Center, and there's going to be lots of different activities. Again, we're coming towards the end of the term, so it's a time for students. Wellness Day is more about reflecting on how you've grown in body, mind, and spirit, and sort of taking care of yourself as opposed to how you fit into the wider world. So we're going to do an event, a yoga mala that day, that's going to take place outside on the plaza as well from 12 to 2.
Okay, and what exactly is a yoga mala?
A yoga mala is takes about 2 hours, and it's 108 sun salutations. So you're going through a sun salutation is about 8 poses, and it's a flow that you move. You transition from pose to pose with either an inhale or an exhale. And so a sun salutation is you're really honoring the sun or each day as it comes up. And so through those 8 movements, we're going to repeat those 8 movements 108 times. We'll have all the mats set up through the whole plaza. I have a bunch of purple mats, so we'll kind of purple out the plaza and just have a ton of people there, and we're all going to be moving together. So you do the movements together. We'll have 3 instructors that are going to lead it, 3 professional instructors. I'll be one of them, and then 2 others, professionals around the community. And we're going to lead it. We're going to teach all of the poses, give modifications, and then lead that. We'll have music, and we'll also have a counter to keep track of which one we're on, because I can't count that
Yeah,
high. So
108. That's a lot.
I can't keep track. We don't want to do them all day. But it should take about 2 hours to complete that.
And who all can come to the event? Is it just SFA students or open
It's
to the
anyone
community?
can come to it. We encourage all students and faculty, staff, anyone who's interested or kind of curious or wants to see what it's like can come to it. It's, again, you don't need a mat because we'll have mats, but you can bring your own. It's for all levels, all fitness levels. So if you're comfortable with yoga, if you're familiar with it, come participate. If you're new to yoga, you've never done it before, like I said, we'll teach the poses. If you're like, I'm not doing yoga, you can just come sit on a mat and meditate or kind of reflect on yourself and what you've learned, or just kind of soak up the happy energy and vibes there.
Yeah. So the 108 sun salutations, they'll all be the same level. So even if I'm not an experienced yoga person, you'll be able to teach me and I'll be able to do it, or will each instructor teach like a different way of that sun
What
salutation?
we'll do is we'll go through and we'll teach at the beginning of it. So we'll show all the modifications. We'll go through the poses and the flow so that everybody knows what they're doing. And then we'll just continue doing that. And so you can choose whichever level modification you'd like to do. If you want to pause and take a break, you can always take a break, sit back in child's pose and rest. If you can't come for the whole time, you can come and do a couple of yoga mala. You could do like 3 or 4 sun salutations. You could do all 108. Like I said, you could come and just sit on the mat. So any time between that 12 and 2, people can drop by, stop in, do some poses, and then head out. And then we'll have just a little flyer before and after so they can reflect on how they're feeling going into it and then how they feel coming out. And then there'll be prizes and giveaways as well.
Oh, wow. So is this an
Yeah.
annual event, something that you do every year?
You know, this is the first time we've done it. Actually, we've coincided our wellness fair with the Week of Reflection in the past, but we weren't able to this year. And so we were trying to come up with, Dr. Adam Peck and I were trying to come up with a way that we could have some kind of an event for campus recreation to be involved, because again, it's all partners across campus are involved in the Week of Reflection and putting this on. And we've always had a part in it. So what could we do in wellness that's sort of a broad thing that can reflect to the body, mind, and spirit for students to look into that. And I would like to do, we've done a lot of yoga classes, but we haven't done a yoga mala. And so it's something, it's a little different twist. And it's also, since it's repetitive, it's pretty simple. So you can catch on and it's easy to learn. So it really tailors towards a variety of fitness levels and yoga levels.
Okay, and if I was still on the fence about coming, what would you tell me to ensure that I come?
I would say it's going to be so much fun, and it's a great way to challenge yourself, learn a little bit about yourself, and also just reflect, like sit back and look at what you're doing, try something new, experiment, put yourself out there, and just have fun, and be a part of the SFA community and the world as a whole, because these events go on all over the world.
Okay, and is this like a pre-registration, or is it just walk up and I can register and be a part of
It
it?
is walk up and register. Like, you don't even need to register. Just walk up, grab a mat, and jump in. We like to keep it simple.
Okay.
And you could do it in clothes. You don't necessarily have to be dressed out either. You can just come in whatever.
Okay, and how can I contact you if I wanted to join this?
I have, let's see, I'm at the Student Rec Center. My office is there. I have an email address. You can find all that information on the Campus Recreation website.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. That's all the time that we have for today.
Thank
I'd like
you.
to thank Kate and the rest of our guests for joining us today. I'm Chaz Rockmore. Tune in again for another segment of Jack Talk.